year of preparation and evaluation. After the initial designation, each year the Belton Fire Department has to submit changes to service or administrative policy to ensure compliance. Within each year 5, each of the 12 categories will be reevaluated by the Texas Fire Chiefs Association, excuse me. We are happy to report the Belton Fire Department received the TFCA Best Practices redesignation on April 13th, 2022. Belton Fire Department's command staff spent many hours of preparation to achieve this designation. And that's an honor to Chief Fontenot and everyone. And I'm going to come down, and City Manager Listy and I want to present this plaque. Best practice in redesignation program, which I just read about. The Texas Fire Chiefs Association has dedicated itself to creating a program that defines a pathway to organizational excellence, which ultimately enhances firefighter safety, long-term planning, operation guidelines, deployment analysis, risk management, and other administrative functions. While most communities believe their fire department is excellent, elected officials and city managers, fire chiefs, and citizens have the opportunity to verify this belief by their fire department obtaining this best practices redesignation. And the Belton Fire Department, having met full requirements of the Texas Fire Chiefs Association Best Practices Redesignation Committee, is hereby awarded the redesignation of Best Practices Fire Department.
Really, this award, this designation, this award and this dedication or redesignation is an effort of the whole department. It's not just the command staff. Our guys, we wouldn't get this if our guys weren't out there every day doing the right thing. So it really goes out to them. It's a testament to what they do on a daily basis. So thank you.
All right, again, we recognize the fire department and mention the police department, and we certainly appreciate y'all very, very much. At this point in time, we have items 4 through 10 on the consent agenda, may be enacted by one motion. If any council member wishes to pull any of those and consider them separately, we may do so. And I'll read those. Item 4, to consider minutes of the April 12, 2022 City Council meeting. Item 5, to consider an appointment and reappointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I will read those names because we certainly want to recognize their service to our city. We recommend the appointment of Alton McCallum to fill Stephanie O'Banion's unexpired term on the Planning and Zoning Commission ending May 28, 2022. We recommend the reappointment of Mr. McCallum, as well as reappointment of Joshua Knowles, Nicole Fisher, Luke Potts, and Brett Baggerly for additional 2-year terms. Item 6, consider authorizing the city manager to execute an amended interlocal agreement between the City of Belton and the Belton Independent School District for the School Resource Officer Program. Item 7, to consider a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the advanced funding agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation for the East 13th Avenue Sidewalk Replacement and Bike Path Project. Item 8, consider authorizing the purchase of new playground equipment for Chisholm Trail Park from Craftsman through the Buy Board Purchasing Cooperative. Item 9, to consider authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with McCreary and Associates for design services related to the standby generator project for city facilities. And item 10, to consider authorizing the conveyance of Dawson Ranch Phase 3, Block 002, Lot 0002, a variable width drainage easement located north of Chisholm Trail Parkway between Twin Ridge Court and De Leon Circle to Mr. James Hightower in exchange for the conveyance of 8 parcels, approximately 4 acres, along the Chisholm Trail Parkway trail improvements located north of the road to the city of Belton. Does anyone wish to pull any of those items? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve item 4 through 10 as
Second.
presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And those passed unanimously. There's some good stuff in there. Look forward to the sidewalks and some other things. So moving forward. Next item is for planning and zoning to hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from commercial highway to commercial highway with a specific use permit for the placement of an electronic changeable sign on approximately 8 acres located at 500 North Interstate 35 Service Road on the east side of I-35, south of Nolan Creek at the Crossroads Church property. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a little bit of deja vu for y'all, but we will get past this one too. So the property is located just east of I-35. Here's a I-35 corridor, and here is the Crossroads Church property. This property is zoned commercial highway. The adjacent properties are zoned agricultural to the north, and then to the east of the site, there are single family 2 residential zoning, also some more commercial highway. And across the street, it is the Liberty Park facility, and that's with an SUP. This property also borders the Nolan Creek to the north. All right. The applicant submitted this request to allow for electronic changeable copy signs. Per our zoning code, that requires an SUP for approval. This property is in the commercial highway zoning district. The original case was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission and disapproved by the City Council in January. Since then, there's been some amendments to the sign codes, hence why this is being brought back to you. This property was changed from agricultural to commercial highway back in 2020 to allow for the church and the daycare facility use. Here is a view of the current picture of, current view of the sign. It is a non-illuminated sign with a manual changeable copy at the bottom. The existing sign, first part of it is 140 square feet, and then the changeable copy sign is 43 square feet. All of it together is 183 square feet. This is what the applicant is seeking approval for. That is an 8 by 18.5, 148 square feet electronic changeable copy sign, and a smaller 43 square feet static sign to advertise for the daycare. The total area is 191 square feet. The existing sign will be retrofitted to allow for this. So there won't be any change of heights. There's very few electronic changeable copy in the city. So this is a list of what we have. The biggest one, of course, is the Expo Center, but that is exempt from regulation because it's a government facility. Per the council recent adopted standards, the sign will have to meet, comply with what was newly adopted with standard section 38.15D. With that, these were the regulations that were appointed. Allowable land use, the land use is not changing. It will remain the same. The only thing that's being requested is the allowance of an electronic changeable sign. For that, the maximum height that is allowed in that commercial highway zoning district is 225 square feet, a maximum height of 20, a minimum setback of 5 for a high profile monument sign. Notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property, and we received no letter of opposition or support for this property. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on April 19th and voted 5-1 to recommend approval of this zoning change with the newly adopted standards for electronic message center. Just want to point out the applicant, Pastor Matt Dasher, is here. Should you have any questions for him or me? That concludes my presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Questions from council members or comments?
I'm glad we're getting this done.
Yeah. Well, we've tightened up the ordinance and tried to be realistic. It is an interstate highway, it does carry a great deal of traffic. we all want our city to look beautiful as much as possible. And I know that was a concern for some folks, but given the location and the what we've done with the regulations, I feel comfortable with it personally. Anyone else?
Mayor, I would say too, I know different people feel different ways about the illuminated signs. I'll just make the comment that I think technology has come to the point where they're pretty unoffensive and look pretty nice. I don't know that they're good everywhere in the city, and that's why we changed, or that's why I agreed to change back to the SUP, because it gives us some oversight. But if it's not, I would just say if it's not okay here in this particular spot, it's probably not going to be okay anywhere. So that's kind of my logic. So I would be for that too. I think it's an acceptable use, an acceptable spot.
Is that a motion?
That would be a
Public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry, I got carried away. I have that written down. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. If anybody wishes to speak for or against the sign, please step forward and give us your name and address. Come on up, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Mr. Listy. I'm Daniel McBurney. I reside at 1192 Hidden Park Court in Salado, Texas, but I'm an elder and also a member at Crossroads. And I came here to support. I'm excited about the sign. I think it will enhance our campus. I think it will enhance our ability to reach out to the community. Our desire is to comply and be a good neighbor with the city. And so our desire is to follow all the recommendations. As we hear that there hasn't been anybody that's opposed it. I know that we've gotten approval by the P&Z, and we're hoping that you would consider very strongly that you grant our SUP request. So
Thank you for coming. We appreciate your comments. Anyone else wish to speak for or against this item on the agenda?
Matt Thrasher, pastor, Crossroads Church, 7746 Fox Road, Belton, Texas. Thank you again for your time and your consideration. And to echo what Daniel said, we have a great upstanding reputation in the community. We want to continue that. We want something that the city can be proud of, that would not only benefit, obviously, us and our campus, but something, again, that the city itself would be proud of. We're in good standing with planning and zoning, everything they've asked. I'm actually grateful that the council has called for the SUP. I do believe there does need to be oversight. I don't think that anyone should just be allowed to put up whatever they want. And with that, we have complied in every way with anything, every time that you guys have asked for something or an amendment. And so again, we are wanting to do that going forward as well. Our previous sign met all of the amendments, and you have my word that this new sign will meet any amendment that you wish it to, or planning and zoning sees fit. So again, thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Reverend Thrasher. I know y'all have worked with us to try to narrow this down a little bit, and we appreciate that. Anyone else wish to speak for or against this? If not, we'll close the public hearing and go back to council comments.
I just have a comment from serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission for a few years and really helping develop the sign ordinance. And part of that sign ordinance was for us to not offset our scenic city designation, which digital signs had a pretty negative hit to that scoring, I believe. And we wrestled with that sign ordinance for a couple of years, making sure everything was right. And I also think it's important to project the image of a historical city on the Chisholm Trail. And so I'm a little opposed to a 148 square foot neon reader board sign along the interstate. Whether that's for anybody, and I really wish it wasn't a church applying for it. It was a gas station or somebody else, because I know you guys are good neighbors and good for our community. I just worried that we have multiple reader boards up and down I-35 and I-14, and I think that the city's done a great job at modifying that, but I still have some concerns about it moving forward.
Certainly understandable. Anyone else? Do I hear a motion on this item?
I would move that we approve the motion as presented.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance and the SUP. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. It passes 4-2. All right. The next item, item 12, to hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from retail to planned development to retail district to planned development retail and amended planned development retail on approximately 4.76 acres located at the northwest intersection of West Loop 121 and Southwest Parkway. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was a mouthful. Here is the location of the property. It is on Loop 121, West Loop 121, at the intersection of Southwest Parkway. And that is the northwest intersection. Here is a look at the current property. That south tower that used to be there is no longer there. It's been removed. The zoning of this property, as you stated, there's two different zoning. The first top of it is zone plan development retail, and the bottom half is zone retail. Adjacent zoning includes agricultural to the west of it, and also planned development office for church and office uses. Across the street to the east of the property is Office 1. North of the property is Single Family 2. And south of the property, there's agricultural and also some retail uses at the bottom. The applicant has submitted this request for a zoning change to amend a previously approved plan development site plan and for and also to extend the use to the adjacent property. Here is a proposed site plan that revises the previous plan development. It shows 7 buildings A through G of various sizes, and they total over 88,000 square feet, all to be used for a storage unit with an office located in Building A at that south corner. The applicant is proposing metal units with a masonry facade on buildings visible from West Loop 121 and Southwest Parkway. So the brown line on the site plan indicates where the masonry buildings will be. So those are the buildings that's visible from West Loop 121 and also on Southwest Parkway. Okay, according to section 34 for off-street parking, the requirements are for the office space, one parking space for every 300 square feet. So in this area, the office is over 1,000 square feet and it will require 4 parking spaces. The applicant is providing 7. Also for their storage units, 4 parking spaces are required. And an additional parking space if the building exceeds 5,000 square feet. All of the interior rows are considered parking lots or parking areas in there. Those rows are either 25 or 30 feet wide and meet the requirements. For access, the applicant has 2 access onto the site, both off of Southwest Parkway. The first one is the main entrance. Both of them have a gated entrance. The rear one would just be for exiting the site and for emergency access. Landscape plans have been submitted. As you can see, the landscape are mostly along the right of ways. So West Loop 121 and Southwest Parkway will receive the most landscaping and it complies with our requirements. All right, for allowable land use, the proposed zoning change will limit the proposed use to mini storage warehouse only. Uses in the retail requirement. I'm sorry. Get a little distracted. The proposed zoning change will limit the proposed use to mini storage warehousing facilities with the requirements for the retail district. Any other uses that's proposed in the future will require an amendment to the plan development. The area requirement, this lot exceeds the minimum requirement, which is only 7,200 square feet. This lot's over 4 acres. The future land use map identified this as a transitional area for residential uses with a commercial corridor overlay. So as you can see, there is the yellow for residential, but it also has the commercial overlay stripe lines in that area. Notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property, and we received no letters of opposition or support for this request. With that, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on April 19th and unanimously recommended approval of this with the following condition. The allowable use of the property shall conform to the retail district. In addition, mini storage warehouse use is permitted use. The development of the property shall conform to all applicable type 9 design standards, and that includes the site plan that was attached, building plans as indicated in the site plan, and landscape and tree protection plans as required. Sign standards shall conform to our sign ordinance. A subdivision replat and development plans are required for this. With that, that concludes my presentation. I just want to point out the applicant's representative is here with Cisco, and he and I are able to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moore. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak for or against this item, please step forward and give us your name and address. Tell us what you think. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for council discussion.
Any concerns about the lighting of that and the residents right behind them?
Yes, sir, they will need to meet our lighting standards, and we'll review that with the site plan to make sure that it's not trespassing onto the residential properties.
Please.
No.
Other than that, it looks like a good project. I know they build a good building and maintain them well.
I may have missed it in reading, but where's the cell tower going?
That has been removed completely
Oh.
from the site.
Any other questions or comments from council?
I move we approve agenda item number 12 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 12 passes unanimously. Item 13, to hold a public hearing to consider a zoning change from commercial 2 to planned development, multiple family district on approximately 0.680 acres, the northeast intersection of East Second Avenue and North Blair Street. Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this property is west of Interstate 35, north of I-14, at the northeast corner of East Second and Blair. Here's a zoomed in look. That storage building will be removed. This property is currently zoned commercial 2 to the north and to the east, west is multifamily. To the east is also commercial 2. Across the street to the south is light industrial, and across the street, just west of that, is Central Business District. The applicant submitted this request to change the property to allow for townhouses. According to our code, that requires a planned development zoning district. So this is what is being proposed. He's proposing a community with 10 clustered homes. The platted lots are 20 feet wide by 80 feet deep, have a minimum area of 1,599 square feet. The plat depicts a front yard setback of 18 feet, and that is from the property line. However, the applicant is requesting that we consider a setback from East Second Avenue, apologize. So they have provided a 25-foot setback from this roadway. The side yard setback are provided by track B and, sorry, seem to have lost my highlighter. By track B, which is this area of parking, and also by track C, which is a separation from the right of way over there. For side yard setback, the track B ensures there's more than 15 feet setback from the property line, and track C ensures there's an 8-foot setback. The applicant is proposing 2 means of access, one off of Blair and one off of East Second Avenue. For parking requirements, what is required is 2.5 parking spaces, and the applicant is proposing that with a 1-car garage on each of the lots, also a 1-car space for parking, a driveway, and also the 5 additional parking, community parking area that is proposed on track B. Here is a look at the architectural that's proposed. This is mostly hardy plank with the masonry veneer at the front by the garage and the entrance. The townhouses would be 2-story homes. They are 20 feet wide and 42 feet deep. They have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and again, the 1-car garage. All right, land use. The proposed zoning change will limit the proposed use to townhouses with the requirements as shown on the proposed site plan. The site exceeds the minimum lot size for the multifamily zoning district, which is 10,000 square feet. Future land use map identified this for residential with a commercial overlay. And notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property, received no letters of support or opposition for this item. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on April 19th and voted to recommend approval of this item. With that, here are the standards that will be required. The allowable use of the property shall conform to the multifamily zoning district in all respects except for the following: townhouses are permitted use. Minimum lot size 1599 square feet is permitted. Minimum lot width is 20 and the depth is 80. Minimum front yard setback is 18. No side yard setback is required for lot 1 or 10 because again, those tracks meet that separation requirement. Development shall comply to all applicable type 7 design standards. Also has to comply with the site development as shown in the exhibit. Building standards as shown also in the architectural exhibit, and landscaping standards that's also shown in the site plan. A subdivision plat is required that is currently underway. Sign standards should comply with our adopted sign codes. With that, the applicant representative Lena Chate is here, and I am able to answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. At this time, we'll open the public hearing to discuss this item. Does anybody wish to speak for or against the item? If not, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for council discussion.
I think the project looks exciting. To put it in that location, I think it's unique, and I think it's a win-win deal.
Any other comments?
I worry about parking, and we've done some townhomes or infill previously, and we seem to have a lot of parking on the street. How do we prevent that? And from some of the other activity I've seen around some of these areas, if somebody wants to enclose the garage and do away with that and park on the street, who oversees that? Or how do we ensure that that doesn't happen?
Hopefully they get a building permit before they enclose their garage where we can possibly say no, that's required because of the zoning district. However, I've seen a lot of people that will still not use the garage or use it for storage that really doesn't comply. There really isn't a regulation for that. It's, again, once it's sold, it's them to determine. The good thing about this is it's next to commercial uses that are closed at night. There's the school district that's across the street from this site. There's also the county building that's across the street from the site. So hopefully there's more parking opportunities than some of the other infills.
Yeah, I just worry about, there's a lot of events in downtown now. And let's be honest, we sure enjoy riding our bike on a street with it's big, wide and open. And it's full of cars. We're going to be a little anxious. And I think I'm a little concerned about the parking on the side to meet the 2.5 per unit. I hope that doesn't become a parking lot on the street.
I'm sorry, when you said the parking on the side is still contained on private property.
No, I know, but
Okay.
I don't know how many people would actually use
Use
that if I'm on the far end. When I park on the other far end and walk to my townhome,
Understand.
I think I'd pull up and walk in the front door.
Council could consider adding a condition to the PD that would prohibit conversion of the garage. Now, of course, that does, as Tina mentions, relies on an applicant submitting a building permit. We might miss it, but in terms of prohibition, there's not a prohibition right now. And so if we're expecting the garage to be retained for parking or storage, not converted to another bedroom or something, you could do
I'm not
that.
really looking to
Yeah.
increase our oversight, but I just know this, as you get 5 years, 10
Legitimate
years
concern.
down the road, we lose control over these.
Right.
and more move in. It's close to the schools, you know, I can walk. There's more rental in those. College is close by. You know, we have some that are 4 and 5 in a little bitty house in our neighborhood. They put up a curtain to divide one room and make that another room. So they're written by the bedroom for Mary Hardin Baylor. But that's good, but that's an awful lot of cars. That we can't ever police and creates frustration in a neighborhood.
It's a very, very valid point.
Definitely an issue. We've seen that along Beale Street, near the railroad tracks, where we've had some nice infill homes there, but it's turned into a traffic issue with people parked on both sides of the street.
Well, this is a PD, right?
Yes, sir.
So that gives you that flexibility for,
No parking in front? Would you go that far? Yeah,
If we've got grounds for that, John.
I just worry.
I share your concern, but I think they meet all of our standards right now. And I don't think we've got grounds to decline, but we may want to.
Well, you do always have the ability to impose parking restrictions on our streets. Normally, that's not done in a neighborhood. This isn't a neighborhood.
And that's even more of a concern. It isn't a neighborhood. It's a very busy street. I mean, if you start putting cars in front of each one of these units on a busy street, I worry about that. Especially, you know, with the ISD right there next to it.
I just want to point out, there is a 20-foot private road in front of the houses. When you say that, I apologize. I think you're talking about parking on Second Avenue.
I'm sorry.
Okay, there
helps
is
a
a
lot.
private roadway, so there is that possibility, that buffer between that and Second.
So we wouldn't have any authority over the private road at all.
We wouldn't, but we would look at it for emergency access, make sure that the police and fire can get in if need be. The fire probably wouldn't use that because it's so close to the roadway. On Second, they'll probably, if something was to happen, but police,
But
An
that
ambulance
private
would need
road
to go
isn't
in.
wide enough to park on, is it?
it's 20 feet wide.
So you can get by one way.
I'm sorry, and it's 14 feet developed back of curve, so two-way. Wait,
But
no,
if somebody's
one.
parked there, you can
One.
probably just get one
Yeah,
safely. But still, you can get through.
You just,
but that's more like an apartment where you've got you've got an off-street drive.
Right.
That would alleviate some of John's concern, but it still could get pretty congested in there and have to keep an eye on that, like you said, for emergency vehicles.
you guys recommending no parking sign on Second and Blair?
okay, but at maybe at a later date, I think we can
We'll see how it works.
And
express our
remember,
concern.
This
about
is
parking.
just zoning. I mean, they're gonna have to plat this.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would actually park on Second to go into that,
I was hoping not,
but it could be an
It could be
internal
an issue.
problem.
Well, as the city attorney said, we could go back and amend parking regulations if that does become a problem. We do have that right. Okay. Any
And that
other,
is something we probably need to look at, to John's point, in
Yeah.
the future, is some of
Yeah.
those issues around the city.
I've had the same comments with Beale Street that
That's been a
2.5
problem.
are never enough.
it's amazing how it can expand. The need somehow expands. Any other comments about this proposal? Do I hear a motion?
I move we approve item 13 as presented.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve item 13. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And it's a very nice looking project. And I think it's definitely, townhomes are definitely needed in the city. I think it's a great thing. I mean, we all have concerns about parking. Parking has been on our mind a great deal lately all over town, especially downtown, but this is a beautiful project. I don't think you'll have any problem whatsoever finding folks who want to live in Belton. So thank you. Item 14, to hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from planned development retail automatic car wash to retail on approximately 0.488 acres located at 1706 North Main Street and described as Turtle Creek Phase 6, Block 1, Lot 1. Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. As stated, this property is located on North Main Street, and it is just north of the Industrial Park Road. Here is a zoomed in look. It's developed. It has an automatic car wash at the moment. Here is the current zoning. This property and most of the surrounding developments were originally zoned Plan Development 12 back in July of 1986, which permitted retail, office, and multifamily uses in this area. Across the street is retail zoning. One more thing, the PD was amended in March of 1996 to allow for the automatic car wash to be located at that facility. The applicant is requesting the zoning change to retail to allow for a drive-through restaurant. The applicant plans to remodel the existing car wash for that use. A site plan will be required along with building construction plans to ensure compliance with the development standards, including parking and drive-through stacking requirements when that is ready for submittal. Allowable land use, this will allow for anything that's allowed in the retail use. That includes anything in office, neighborhood services, type uses. Alcoholic beverage for on-premise consumption is allowed, and the various other uses listed. Restaurant, what they're proposing is definitely allowed. Area requirements, it would have to meet the requirements for the retail zoning, and this lot exceeds it. What's required is 7,000 square feet and a minimum width of 60 feet wide. This is over 21 square feet. It has a width of 120. The future land use map identifies this area for commercial uses. Notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property. We received 3 letters of opposition due to traffic concerns, proximity to the traffic light, and just turn movements in this area per the letter is difficult. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on April 19th and recommended approval of this zoning change. Applicant Lena again is here. If you have any questions, then I can help with that. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Tina. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against item number 14? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for council discussion.
Tina, right now you can go behind the old car wash and over to industrial on the parking area or the paved area behind the oil change place. Is that private property? Is that a second or third entrance into this place, or is that just good neighbors letting folks use their stuff?
Probably just good neighbors letting folks use their stuff because it's so difficult to navigate during that in that area because of the signal and the traffic that moves through.
Right.
I would think that's gonna stop
But the
with
restaurant.
this.
Mm.
Because the right now, there's not a lot of traffic through there with the car wash, but that oil change place has to exit back there, drive through bays. And so if that could create a problem with cross traffic with a restaurant, with a drive-through restaurant.
Cross connection in the backyard like we.
Yeah, and it's not really that big.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily big enough for a cross connectivity back there. I'm just wondering if that oil change place has had any input on this. I'm assuming they were notified.
Correct. They were one of the neighbors within the 200 feet, so they were notified.
Don't think we got anything from them.
Don't think we did either.
Uh-uh.
There were other neighbors. The laundromat across the street was one of the neighbors, and I want to say the storage facility was
And I
also.
believe Arthur Potts, who lives down on the corner of 20th, yeah,
Yes.
expressed concern for traffic.
I mean, that is a potential concern. It just all kind of depends on how you get that flow in there. And I mean, we're not really looking at anything that's showing us that, but
And that would be to go liquor sales or mixed drinks sales,
Be
something?
on-site consumption. I'm sorry, I'm thinking the state regulates that. There might have been some recent amendments
I'd
to
like
allow
to
for
go in there
to
somehow.
go.
Well, Abbott signed where if you have an on-premise, you can serve it to go with a lid and a tape or whatever they do.
At a drive-through.
It's a restaurant with drive-through. so,
Yes, you have to have a food and beverage permit as well as your alcohol license. You can't just have an alcohol license.
It's not a, I mean, it's not a bad spot for that. I mean, it's really not. It's just, my only concern is that flow and how that works on that lot. And
I think you
Maybe-
could argue that it's more difficult for the oil change place than it is for this one because they're even closer to the light. But
Right.
this, you've got the 3 lane, I mean, really the 5 lane, the middle lane.
yeah, I mean, you'd have to do some sort of, I mean, you could keep it all on that lot with, you take out all the vacuums and all the rest of the stuff that's car wash there, and you could get a pretty good circle there to get a drive, but you kind of come in and out that one spot. You wouldn't have 2 access points. I mean, a site plan, or maybe even hearing something from the applicant on how that is going to work might be helpful.
And this wouldn't come back to us because it's not subdivided, so
It's not going to be
it's
platted.
now or never. Well, and then my question before the state, we helped with a project for the taco bar. And the state is who designated a right turn in, right turn out only. Is with this changing zoning and use, would they have a say in this traffic flow?
TechStop would definitely review the change of use application and make some recommendations to the applicant.
Correct. So what's going to happen, this
I'm
is,
sorry, Lena, would you state your name and address for
I'm
the
sorry.
record, please, ma'am?
yeah, Lena Chate, Belton Engineering. So this is here, we're just asking for the zoning for now. We will come back with a site plan that will confirm to all the criteria. We do have enough radius in there for cars to come in and make the turn and get out. But any interior conflict will have to be worked when we do the site plan with the neighbor. And yes, TxDOT, they need to review that because this is a change in use. So they will review that.
I mean, it was a very busy car wash at one time when Jeff Harper built it many years ago. And it was,
Yeah.
of course, traffic wasn't as great as it is now on Main Street.
Yeah. I mean,
It worked.
it could work. It's, I don't know. I'm not like adamantly concerned or not. I just, it could be a problem if it's not designed right. And I don't know that we have any oversight on that. So that's all. I'm just bringing it up. But I don't think it's going to come back to us with a site plan. That's something y'all will look at.
That
and
would be
y'all will
something
determine.
that site would look at, staff would look at, apologize. And again, there are criteria that it would have to meet, including stacking requirements for a restaurant, that there's requirement to have at least 9 stacking area, 10, I'm sorry, 4 to the box or 6 to the box, 4 to the pickup box. So we'll look at all of that and evaluate it to make sure it meets our standards.
And I'm sure they're concerned about that too, but I mean, you wouldn't want to build a problem. It's not good business, but
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because if it's not easy in, easy out, no one wants to go in. And it has to be safe from also liability standpoint for the
Yeah.
owner because, so yeah, absolutely it needs to be that right, correct.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we hear a motion?
I move we approve agenda item number 14.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Item 15, consider a final plat of River Fair Crossing we've been reading a lot this afternoon, I'm sorry, comprising 0.923 acres located at the northwest corner of North Main Street, State Highway 317 and River Fair Boulevard, north of Lake Road, FM 439. Ms. Moore, one more time here.
All right. As stated, this property is located at the northwest corner of North Main Street and River Fair Boulevard. What the applicant is proposing is a 0.923 acre lot. It's a 1 block, 1 lot, and it will be used for a coffee restaurant.
Oh, cool.
What the applicant is proposing, the reason why it's coming through instead of an administrative plat is it requires an extension of utility services. So they are proposing to extend an existing 6-inch sewer line down River Fair to serve this property. That sewer line will be contained in a 10-foot utility easement. Also across the street, they're extending the water line to and through this lot to provide services to the adjacent property. And that is an 8-inch water line that would be extended. Right, for right of way, North Main Street and River Fair Boulevard, they currently have their right of ways. They exceed their right of way requirements, so there's no dedication or improvements required. There is a 5-foot sidewalk that's required to ensure that there is enough room. The applicant is putting in a 2-foot sidewalk easement so they can have enough room to construct that 5-foot sidewalk. So here is that easement that they're providing. And the rest of it is utility easement to ensure utilities. Okay, with that, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on April 19th and recommended approval of this lot of the subdivision plat. The applicant is here. And I apologize, there are no more outstanding conditions. The applicant has addressed all of the conditions and it is ready to be approved.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moore. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on item,
No public hearing.
oh, no, we've public hearing all we're going to today. I'm sorry. We open it for discussion by council or motion.
I just have a question about, that's going to be accessed off of River Fair, correct?
Correct. They're also proposing an access easement on the lot and
I was going to ask you about cross connectivity for future
yes, sir.
development down to the north.
Correct. So there is this 30-foot cross access agreement that they have so they can provide connections to the north when that is developed.
Okay. I just didn't see that's what that was, but just making sure.
That'd be at the back of the property,
About to the west.
correct?
I apologize.
That's the back of the property?
That is the back of the property. That was one of TxDOT's questions to us. On the other side, the access easement is
in the
closer to the front. They did not like that because it didn't really allow for enough room for spacing, so they requested that it be moved to the back.
Looks like a pretty easy and exciting item before us. I move we approve agenda item number 15.
Second.
We've heard a motion and second. All those in favor of approving item 15, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Free samples in the future, is that? Item number 16, the last item today. Consider authorizing
Mr.
the city
Mayor.
manager.
I got to recuse myself from this item.
Yes, sir. Item 16, consider authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with United Way of Central Texas to administer a component of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 to provide community aid funds for the Belton residents impacted by COVID-19. Mr. Listy.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. We're here tonight to present one of multiple items that will be coming back to you as we work to distribute the $5.6 million in COVID relief funds approved by the ARPA Act of 2021. As you recall, in late March, the council approved resolution that designated the allocation of those dollars, and we're working to distribute those funds into the community. This item that's before you tonight provides for an agreement with United Way of Central Texas to administer a broad assistance program to benefit Belton citizens who've been financially impacted by COVID-19. We've been in discussions with United Way to help us with this program. As you recall, they helped us with a similar program earlier on utility relief in the earlier program. This one's a little bit different. It's certainly a substantial amount of money. $300,000 is allocated in this program. Eligible recipients must be, of course, Belton residents. We're proposing a maximum one-time assistance of $3,000. The program would expand the opportunity for assistance to any utility costs. You recall, we recently allocated about $100,000 to clean up existing delinquencies in the community, but this $300,000 would be available for any utility cost that was not available in the earlier program. It would also be available for housing, for internet and phone services, keep people connected and working, hopefully, and then hot bus services would also be available as well. In this case, the United Way will receive a 10% administrative fee of $30,000 for the provision of these services. These are services where they're equipped to handle the evaluation of applicants. We're really not able to do that with existing staff, and they've graciously offered to do that. We do concur in the importance of the fee for that service because, again, it is going to take some work to evaluate clients. The United Way has agreed to provide quarterly reporting statements to us, and then, of course, there are timeframes for the expenditure of the funds, and if there are any funds left over, we would ask that they have to be obligated by the 31st of December 2024 and spent by the end of 2026. In speaking with Stephanie O'Banion, and her experience with these types of programs, we fully expect those dollars will be allocated. Again, broadening the program to benefit the folks as we've identified should make these available to folks who really need it. Again, the $300,000 is a component of the $5.6 million proposed for this agreement with United Way. Council has previously approved commitments, including the $1.2 million for implementation of the compensation study, and then the $100,000 that I mentioned to pay delinquent City of Belton utility accounts in April. A couple of other items that are working right now. We've also been in discussions with United Way about a separate grant program regarding allocation of funding for nutrition and food assistance, and with the COG on a grant program to distribute $850,000 for small business support. So those agreements will be coming back to the council in the not too distant future as we finalize the agreements. In your package, you have the application form that has been developed by United Way, and then the agreement with them as we've laid out. So we would recommend the council authorizing the execution of the agreement with United Way of Central Texas to administer this $300,000 again and get those dollars out into the community to benefit Belton residents impacted by COVID-19. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Questions or comments?
Like we got the right folks that do this well for a living, doing it for us. This makes all the sense in the world to me. I'd move we approve this item as presented.
Second. If I had a motion and a second, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And just to second what Craig just said, United Way of Central Texas has done a great job working in this kind of thing in the past, and we appreciate their help. And I know Stephanie's going to do a great job for them and for us. So looking forward to doing this. And looking forward to the citizens of Belton that do need the help. And we're not just spreading it all over everybody. We're actually targeting people who need the assistance. And I think that's a key component of this. And I appreciate everyone who's helped target that. That being said, there is no further business. We are adjourned.
No, you got to come back for the adjournment. Got to get adjourned, bro.
Hey, Amy,
Hey,
get this
guys.
email.
Hey, guys, let's try
Can
to
I get
wear
this email to me so I don't forget
nice
about
city
it?
shirts next time because we'll be bringing Stephanie on and telling
Yeah, Gabby.
Kiss some guy goodbye.
Do I need to come to the next meeting?
Do what?
Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, that's right.
Got something for you.
Yeah.
Wear your city shirt so
Yeah.
we can all look.
Yeah, we got you. I turned past all.
Hey, that's what the school district is. Pretty neat,
I'll
actually.
probably have to be there for my wife.
I was gonna say,